Welcome to join us back here. We are happy to invite Myungan Sunim Jedobosa for the Dhamma talk with title, Walk the Bodhisattva Way with Zen Mind. If you have any questions, please type it in Zoom's chat room here and choose Send to Everyone. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our speaker to all of you. Myungan Sunim is born in Malaysia. He received his MBA education in the United Kingdom and worked in finance. In 1992, he was inspired to practice Zen after hearing a Dhamma talk by Zen Master Sungsang in Hong Kong. He was ordained by Zen Master Sungsang in 1997. He continued to serve in various positions at Musangsa Temple in Korea and continued to help the whole world is a single flower Zen conference in 2002. He returned to Malaysia in 2013. He is currently the abbot of Heng Won Zen Center in Penang. Now, let us put our hands together to welcome Myungan Sunim for the Dhamma talk.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for your very kind introduction. So, thank you all for joining this talk online, and it's very nice to be here with you today from Penang. I think it's very important now to develop our practice of helping others in this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Malaysia, we've been very fortunate to have minimized the impact, the negative impact through the efforts of our healthcare, frontline, government workers. Actually, everyone in the community acted together in the interest of the community. And now we're in pretty good shape, even though the rest of the world is still reeling from the accelerating infection rates. So, but one thing we have to remember that even though we are quite safe now here in Malaysia, we cannot be truly safe until everyone in the world is safe. So this talk title today is Walking the Bodhisattva Path with Zen Mind. So what is Zen? For those of you who are perhaps not Buddhist, it's the Japanese pronunciation of the word Chinese character Chan. And it comes from a transliteration of the Sanskrit word dhyana, which means meditation. And meditation essentially is paying attention with intention, without judgment, in the present moment, with openness, acceptance, and curiosity. What we call Bodhisattva nature, I feel, is really our true human nature. Care and respect for others, our environment, and for all beings who we share this planet with. So walking the Bodhisattva way with Zen mind really means being truly human and living our lives with wisdom, awareness, and compassion. So one of the organizers asked me to talk about Kong An's favorite subject for everyone, and the Bodhisattva path. So in our Quantum Zen tradition, Kong Ans are a very helpful tool to give us an experience of this not knowing mind. Or some people say don't know mind. Even if it's only for a moment, you can't answer the Kong An. The other important thing it does is that it puts us in some situation that helps our cognition and our wisdom to grow. We're usually uncomfortable with not being able to give the answer to the question that is asked by the teacher. We're uncomfortable, we can't give the correct answer. That's because that's how we are. That's how we've been brought up. We are uncomfortable with not knowing because we're conditioned by society from young that we have to know. We have to have the right answer. Then when we give the right answer, our teachers very happy. Good boy, good girl. Parents, our bosses very happy, and they reward us. But if you look at your lives, our lives, you'll realize that it is actually filled with many moments where we don't know. We have no idea how to proceed to deal with the situation. And we feel really uncomfortable with that. We want to have things figured out, to have an easy, smooth life, to be able to understand, and also to be understood by others. And when we don't have that, it's not easy. Maybe we want to have some plan on how we can deal with situations. Koan practice really does help us learn to be comfortable with not knowing, to feel okay with that, and to accept that there's not always an answer to everything. It takes some practice, of course, to feel that it's okay not to know. But it's okay to feel not okay. That's just how life is. If you take a look, our life is not all rainbows and beautiful sunsets. It's sometimes cloudy, dark, and rainy. But, clouds and rain are also okay. They're also beautiful. So many years ago, I had an interview with Bobby Rhodes and Master Songhyang. It was my first interview. And because of that, I was pretty nervous because I didn't know what it's going to be like. But she was very friendly, and it went pretty well, and soon my nerves went away, and we had the interview. Towards the end of the interview, she asked me, how much time does an interview take? I thought, is this a trick question? Then, no, I just said, what, 10, 15 minutes? And she said, yeah. And then she asked me again, your daily life, how much time do you spend doing that? Then it really hit me. We spend only a tiny amount of our life in a Koan interview. The rest of the time, which is like majority, huge proportion of life, maybe 99.9% of our time, we're dealing with real life Koans. Situations that life throws at us. And sometimes we don't know what to do. So then we don't always have a correct answer. We kind of, figure it out. And so if you can't give a correct answer to a koan in an interview, don't stress yourself out. The important koans are the ones that life throws at you. And when you can practice with not knowing, that will help you deal with the situations that life throws at you in your daily life. So if we learn to be more aware and more comfortable with not having an answer for everything, we can learn to relax mentally. We're not so tight. And then our minds can have a chance of becoming calmer and clearer. And in so doing, we have a better chance of seeing how we can get through some of these tough situations. Chogam Trungpa Rinpoche, this famous Tibetan Rinpoche that was teaching in America, says that the Bodhisattva makes only one simple vow: to put others first, holding nothing back for themselves. Some other teachers say Bodhisattvas are beings who delay their own enlightenment until all beings have attained enlightenment. So that sounds really wonderful and very nice. But what does it really mean? Especially if you're someone who doesn't have much experience of Buddhism. What's enlightenment? And why do I have to wait until everyone gets it first? So even Buddhist scholars find it hard to agree on what exactly they mean by the word enlightenment. Zen Master Wu Bong prefers to avoid using the word, and instead he calls it the aha moment, just like this aha. So when I think of the Bodhisattva path, I prefer to think it more simply as a way of practicing kindness, gratefulness, and generosity. So these are words that everybody can understand and can connect more easily with. We know how it feels when someone treats us with kindness, generosity, and God is grateful for things that we do for them. Makes us feel good inside. And that someone cares about us. And Dalai Lama, who just turned 85 years old a week ago, 6th of July, said in his recent talk for Time magazine, we human beings have these really marvelous, brilliant minds, but we're also the biggest troublemakers on the planet. Now we should utilize our brains with compassion and a sense of concern. This is why one of my commitments is the promotion of deeper human values. So deeper human values. I think one of the most important deep human values we can promote and practice is being kind to all others. So one of his famous quotes is this: be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. So kindness, what is it about? And why should we be kind? So the research, there's a lot of science now into these areas of meditation, areas of positive psychology. And what they find is that we're actually biologically wired to be kind to each other because we need to make relationships to be able to work together and to survive as a group. But my situation is saying it gets taught out of us as we grow up. People tell us, you have to look after number one. My grandmother, I remember when I was young, always said to me, "Ku-chi-ke," which in Cantonese means look after yourself. So there's a lot of scientific research into kindness. And it has shown that we can have many physical and mental benefits from being kind when we act in the service of others without expecting something in return. When we do that, our bodies release these feel-good hormones, and we have this nice warm feeling inside, which improves our sense of well-being. Maybe you'll even smile. Volunteering, for example, has been shown to minimize stress and improve symptoms of depression. Giving donations is shown to reduce blood pressure and improve heart health. So, and these benefits are as great as those from a healthy diet and exercise. So it's pretty good. Just be kind, just give, be generous. But say you're pretty healthy and mentally well adjusted, then what's the motivation? So if you're Buddhist, like me, or believe in cause and effect, karma, then you realize that if you want others to be kind to you, then you should treat them kindly too, because that's just cause and effect. You get what you give out. It's the same, they have the same saying in Christianity: you reap what you sow. So then there are some people who are more skeptical. They want some hard information, hard science. So what is there? I want to know what the proof is. That we in the religious circles, we always say is that be kind. Yeah, everybody says that, but what's the proof? So the scientific research tells us that one of the big benefits of kindness is that it makes us happier. And a Harvard Business School survey looked at happiness in 136 countries. 136 countries. And they found that people who behave kindly were the happiest. And happiness is truly contagious. Those who witness and benefit from other people's acts of kindness are more likely to be kind themselves. In fact, it's like throwing a pebble into a pond and the ripple goes out. A single act of kindness spreads through your social networks by 3 degrees of separation, which means it goes from person to person to person to person. So many years ago, I was carrying some heavy luggage down KL Central station, train station. Escalator was out of order, and I was having a hard time. Then out of the blue, somebody grabbed my heaviest bag and then walked all the way down. And at first I thought somebody's going to steal my bag. But then when I really looked at him, he was a very old, kind of skinny Malay man with a white cap on his head. When he got to the bottom, he put my big bag down, looked up, and nodded, and then walked off. So my anxiety of thinking, oh, somebody's stealing my stuff, completely disappeared, and it was replaced by this really warm feeling inside. Wow, this stranger, this person I didn't know, help of another faith, helped me, a Buddhist monk who wasn't that old. I was like 20 years younger than he was. So that's the kind of, and that good feeling carried through for the rest of the day. And I think, I was nicer to people I met that day too. So it is contagious. And, those people that saw this act of kindness are more likely to be kind to others too. So when we do acts of kindness, it motivates others to act kindly too. And if enough of us do it, we could create a community where people are not only kind to each other, but to all beings who share the same space. Think about how nice that would be. And think about what it would be like if it wasn't. If it was the opposite situation, where everybody behaves selfishly and only for themselves, not caring whether they're unkind to others or hurting others, as long as they or their family or their close ones benefit. What kind of world would that be like? Is that the world you like to live in, or for your kids to grow up in? Just imagine how stressful that would be. So how do we practice kindness? I think nowadays the best person to start with is yourself. Do you ever notice how you are nicer to others when you feel good about yourself? When you've taken care of yourself, it's easier to take care of others. It means not being so hard or demanding on yourself, especially when you've made a mistake or couldn't achieve what you hoped for. So when we accept that we're human and making mistakes is all part of the human condition, we can treat ourselves more kindly and extend that kindness to others. So Aesop, this man, Greek, I think Greek, who wrote fables, fairy tales. He said, and I quote, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." So that means any act of kindness is always beneficial. And one great way to start is to try doing small, random acts of kindness in your daily life. So what do these random acts of kindness look like? Well, one thing is to try smiling at the person who serves you your breakfast or your coffee. Zen Master Song San, his best friend was Byok-am Kunsanim. Byok-am means blue cliff. And Byok-am Kunsanim was a very, very highly respected great monk in Korea. All the other monks were terrified, they were scared of him because he was very strict and would take severe action against monks who even broke small precepts. Then as he got older, he mentioned to Zen Master Song San that everyone was scared of him and nobody dared to be friendly or get too close. So Zen Master Song San said, "That's because you never smile. You must try smiling more." So from that day onwards, every morning he would go into his bathroom, stand in front of the mirror, and look at the mirror and practice smiling. And every day he would do that. And then quite soon, it became natural for him to smile. It became easier. And then he would smile at everyone. So when I met him for the first time in 1994, he was already smiling and very sweet old monk. And everybody liked him. So try smiling. And also try saying thank you to the person that serves you. Make eye contact. There's always another human being on the other side of the transaction. And if you were that person, I'm sure that you would appreciate being thanked. So try that, Somebody brings you a coffee, look at them and say thank you and smile. See how that makes you feel or makes them feel. Other things you can try doing, very simple, small things, doesn't have to be big things. Give up your seat on the train to someone standing. Hold open the door after you've gone through for somebody coming through behind you. There's been so many times that I've had this experience where somebody goes through the door and then they just let it go and just boom, almost slams in my face. So that's just a common courtesy, but it's also a small act of kindness. Compliment someone. Compliment your co-workers for doing a good job or serving a customer well. Just buy a cup of coffee or a snack for someone, your friend, co-worker, out of the blue, just to be nice. So, and also this other thing I think is very good for people who drive. If someone wants to get in front of you, let them, just slow down instead of accelerating your car to block them off. Let them get in. It's only one car. So the science really is very clear on this, that if you can boost your happiness, you can actually boost your happiness with just doing one week of being kind. Also, your happiness gets a stronger boost when you do it kind of randomly, about 3 times a week, not doing it like a routine or mundane thing where you do it every day. So, okay, today I've got to do a kind thing at 9 o'clock. So try it. And it's also helpful if you can just write it down, and make a record. Kindness is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. It's easier to do these acts of kindness. It becomes more natural. Just like your calm kunsunim, smiling. It's easier. It gets easier. And the more kindness you give out, the more kindness you get in return. It's a win-win situation. So try it. Try it. Smile, exercise that kindness muscle, and spread it all around. Make it contagious. So I hope you all continue to stay safe and well, and be mindful when you're in public spaces. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Myung-an Sunim, for the wonderful guidance. So now it is our Q&A session. A gentle reminder for all of you, if you have any questions, please type your questions in the Zoom's chat room here and choose Send to Everyone. Our volunteers will compile the questions and I will post the questions to Myung-an Sunim later. So Myung-an Sunim, I have a questions here. So in daily practice, how do you know you are using Zen mind every day?
So what are you doing right now? Oh yeah, only that?
I don't know.
Sitting here having a Zoom chat with you. So Zen mind, not Zen mind, doesn't matter, If we say, do I have Zen mind? Then we're actually making opposites, right? So Zen, our practice of meditation, is actually not to make this dualistic thinking, not opposites. So just do it. So Zen Master Song San, one of his main teachings is whenever you're doing something, just do it. That means not having this idea of, do I have Zen mind or not? Am I doing something 100% or not? Just do it. So when you just do it, you experience this becoming one. We say becoming one. What I really am very grateful for is the Dalai Lama, because in 1992, he told the scientists, most of the time you are studying how to, what happens with people who are depressed, who have panic, who are anxious and all that, all these things, and how to, what happens there. Why don't you study the positive impacts, the positive effects like kindness and generosity and gratitude? And also, how does meditation work in that? And also, he said, if you find that the science confirms what the Buddhist teachings say, then please spread it widely. Tell everyone about it. And if it disproves the teaching, then we discard the teaching. So one of the interesting things that the scientists have discovered is this word called flow. Okay, and what we say in our words is become one. So when you do something and you just 100% do it, you feel that you're just completely doing it. Like sometimes you experience this when you go for a run, or maybe you're doing your work and you're so absorbed in it that it's a little challenging. You have to be there and pay attention. But you feel that you're completely in the flow, that nothing else is distracting you. You're just so caught up in what you're doing. So sometimes when you go running, you have that too. You know, you run, 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 run. Then suddenly you hit this kind of flow situation, flow state. A lot of athletes experience that. So then Zen mind, not Zen mind, doesn't matter, you know. Who cares? You've just become one. You are running, running is you. Okay, that's just our teaching word. So Zen mind is also a teaching word. But the point is, when you do something, just do it 100%. Then, boom. You know, you're not separate from what you're doing. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
So there's the next questions. So here it writes, Nguyen Sunim, thank you for your teaching. You had a successful career in finance before. What made you decide to let go of all the success and become a venerable?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. So people think of success when they look at it on the outside. Okay. So we always think of outside things as, or outside conditions as whether it's successful or not. And then we want that. But why do we want to be successful? Or why do we feel that it's important to be successful? Or to have money? Or to have a good job? Or good partner? Why? Underlying that, the desire for success, desire for good things, is a wish to be happy, to be free of suffering, right? I mean, we don't want success just to be success. There's something in it for us, right? There's a reason. So, but what if, so what society tells us, what society tells us, what success gives us is actually wrong. That actually being successful materially doesn't actually make you any happier. In fact, it can make you more stressful and more unhappy. So that is actually what the science research is showing now. Many people associate, like say, getting more money with better life. And that's true to a certain extent. If you have a very difficult situation, you're poor, don't have much money, then getting more money improves your life. But there is a point, and in America, there is a certain point where you get this salary and more on top of that doesn't make any difference at all. Okay, so even if you get $1 million a year, $1 million a year salary more than what you get from the point, doesn't make any appreciable difference to your happiness. Okay, so basically, success isn't a material success, isn't going to give us the happiness that we want. And the way that I talk about happiness is not this happiness you get from buying a new handphone or getting a new car. It's this kind of sense of joy and contentment in your life. So having this career success, as people would see it outside. Actually, I didn't see it as successful. I saw it as like, God, I have to go to work again. I don't want to, it's you put up with all the stress. It is actually stressful, and all you're doing is basically waiting for the end of the month so you can get paid. And I wasn't even, interested in that anymore. But it wasn't. So from outside, it looked successful. But from my perspective, from inside, it looked like I'm trapped in a cage. They called it a golden cage, maybe. Cage made of gold. But it's still a kind of cage, because once you get caught up in, let's say, for example, you start to buy all these houses and cars, then you have to owe the bank a lot of money. And then there's no way you can escape your successful job because you owe the bank. Okay, so it's not really that difficult to let go of that. Because once you see it, you realize, huh, actually it's like a prison for me, okay, for personal. Then I quit my job, become a monk. It was escape, freedom. Freedom from prison. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the insights. Very interesting. Yeah. So I have another questions here. So here it goes. How to be kind to a criminal and enemy?
Yeah, very good question. So the Dalai Lama said, that's the test of your compassion. If you can show compassion to your enemy. It takes practice. So start small, Also, we have to realize that a person who has been found guilty of a crime is still a person, even though they committed some crime. There's a lot about them that you don't know. This crime doesn't define who they are. Maybe they made a mistake in their life, and then they got caught and they're paying for it. So who is this person? Why do we have to like them or to, think bad things about them just because they have this label, criminal? So we have to kind of step back and take a wider view. Even like in the Zen Master Songzan, when he went to Russia, he was like seen with like the Russian presidents, Gorbachev, people like that. And so it's not what they do, what is the person behind? And this person may be experiencing a lot of suffering in their life. That's why they committed this act. So when you see, I think I don't have the actual research to show it, but if you look at a lot of people who've committed crimes, you'll see probably in their life they had a lot of trauma, that people treated them very badly. So then they have this reaction towards society. So how do we treat people with compassion? First, let's start practicing exercising your kindness muscle. Be kind to the people that you like, treat them kindly. And once you get past that, be kind to the people that you have a neutral feeling about, that you don't really like them or dislike them. Just be kind to them. When you get okay with that, then try being kind to people you don't like just a little bit. Okay, buy them things, be nice to them. Then as you get on, you get stronger at being kind and compassionate. Then you can really see, being kind is very important. Nelson Mandela, very good example. He was put in prison, solitary confinement, in a cell not much bigger than a toilet. Concrete floor, no bed, just a blanket. I don't know how many years, 16 years, something like that. So then eventually he was released. And then he was elected the first black president of South Africa. If some of you don't know about him, you should read it. He's a very great man. And many people would expect him to take revenge because a lot of his own people, the black South Africans, were murdered, were tortured by the white minority. This system was called apartheid. But he didn't. He said, it's very important to forgive. If you forgive somebody, you take away their power to hurt you. So forgiveness is a very important tool. So he didn't go after them. He tried to bring everybody together. He forgave his enemies. And actually, the prison guard who was supposed to guard him, white prison guard, became his best friend. So isn't that amazing? The prisoner was able to turn his enemy into his best friend. So that's the power of practicing kindness and compassion. So try. You won't be able to do it straight away, but if you practice it, starting small, then eventually you'll be able to do it.
That's a
Okay.
very good sharing about great compassion. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So the next question, how do we know we are in Zen don't know mind or in ignorance?
Well, if you're checking, then you don't know. So as I said before, that's a good question. So don't worry about it. You know, am I ignorant or am I having Zen mind? Well, what is Zen mind? Whoever asked the question, what is Zen mind? Is that a definition? So Zen means meditation, right? Is the Japanese word for chan, which means meditation. So what's meditation mind? It means paying attention moment to moment, with attention, without judgment, in the present moment, and with this openness and curiosity and acceptance. So again, when you're doing something, just do that. So that's Zen mind. But very important is our direction. So when you're doing something, who are you doing it for? Why you do it? So that's the spiritual direction. So if you're doing something selfishly for yourself, that has a certain karmic result. If you're doing something altruistically for others, that has a different karmic result. So that's why Zen Master Sung San is always saying, make your direction clear. It's very important. Why do that? So, and actually, it's not even dependent on whether you believe in a religion or not. That's how we should live as human beings, as an ethical human being, because that is the way that we can survive as a society, as a humanity, in actually helping others and being kind to others. So having this clear direction of altruism and care for others, and then just doing it. So that's all. So don't worry, Zen mind, ignorance, if you practice enough, you realize, that was pretty stupid. You don't need anybody to tell you. You'll know that you've done something. And then when you do that, so again, Zen Master Sung San said, mistake, not mistake, no problem. You perceive your mistake and make it correct. That's all. So you made a mistake, just make it correct. Say sorry or do something to fix your mistake. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Here's the other questions. After the MCO, bosses' business is often affected. And so they acted a bit out of control. They are often worried that they have not done enough, and so they increase the workloads of their workers.
Yeah.
As workers, how shall we address this situation?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a good question, because I think it affects everybody. In fact, most people who are starting to reopen their businesses, companies after this MCO lockdown, because the whole economic situation has gone downhill. Not only Malaysia, but the whole world. Okay. In fact, Yeah, the bad news is we're in a recession worldwide right now. So how do we handle it? So when we're put in a stressful situation, there's the actual stress from the situation, and then how we respond to it. Okay. So usually the way that we react to stress is to worry about it more and get more stress. It triggers all our stress responses. Our heart beats faster, our stomach gets tight, we breathe faster, we get very kind of focused, or our attention we just get very, we say stressed out. So we're not going to be able to change the outside situation, unfortunately, because that is what is happening to everyone. What we can do is to modify or change how we respond to stress. Outside situation is not going to change, okay? Doesn't matter, unless you happen to win the lottery and you can retire and have a comfortable life. We're good. So outside situation is not going to change. So how do we respond to it? So very important first is actually practice meditation, because the clearest scientific benefit of meditation, it helps to reduce your stress. That's the very clear one. That's the most commonly talked about. It helps reduce your stress. Second is it helps you focus and pay attention. Okay, if you Google scientific benefits of meditation, I did that a couple of days ago, you get like 200 over million hits. 200 million over hits, okay? So a lot of people are writing it. It's kind of, maybe not, we're starting to become more aware of it in Malaysia with the scientific research into meditation, but in the West, it's exploding, especially nowadays with all this COVID-19 situation, the stress with the economy and everything. So what you can do is change the way that you respond to stress. And then when you can better respond to it, you'll see a clearer way of how to handle your situation. And every single situation is different. But if you just get stressed out and you get tight and, you maybe just go for some coping things like get drunk, smoke, take drugs, that's not going to help. But if you learn to relax, then you can see the stressful situations better and then be able to handle it better. So yeah, practice meditation. Maybe sitting meditation is very difficult, so try bowing or walking meditation or chanting, and then that helps your mind settle. Then anything that helps you to breathe deeply is also very good. If you try this breathing practice, deep breathing practice, that also will start to relax your stress response. So I'm afraid there's no magic bullet. In fact, there's no magic bullet for anything. And even meditation is not a magic bullet. It does help with a lot of our life, but eventually, at the end, we also have to take some action ourselves as our mind becomes more calm and more clear, and we get stronger inside. But without the benefits of practice, then you're going to have a harder time. So that's why, I think that we really should encourage as many people as possible to just try some meditation, some mindfulness in their lives, even if it's for 5 minutes a day. That's going to help. Okay?
Thank you for the sharing. It helps us a lot.
Okay.
Okay, there's another question here. There are many non-Buddhists who has been doing a lot of kind deeds. For example, Mother Teresa, etc., without practicing Zen. Is it still important to practice Zen if someone is already practicing loving kindness in his or her daily life?
Yeah, no, because Buddhists don't have a monopoly on loving kindness. It's a human trait, you know. That's why we talk about. That's why the Dalai Lama talks about human values, of kindness and compassion. It's not based on faith. It's not based on whatever religion you you believe in. Christianity teaches love, so does Islam. So actually, our human nature is to care and be kind to each other. It's only that we somehow, as we grow up in society, that gets changed, into that you have to be number one, you have to compete, you have to, get rid of your competitors and be better than them. Then, okay, so we have the society we have. Look at America. They're the richest, most powerful, the most biggest democracy in the whole world. And how are they handling this pandemic? Terrible, And we're a tiny country, not very rich, but somehow we managed to do it. So why is it? This whole model of everything. I'm going to get everything I can for myself, and don't worry about others. That is not working. It's very clear it's not working now. If we start to help each other, that works better for society as a whole. So yeah, I forgot what the question was.
So for non-Buddhists who not practicing Zen mind,
So it doesn't matter, you're Buddhist, Christian, even if you don't believe in a religion, that's just get in touch with your own human nature. That's who we are, being kind. Because being kind and helping others doesn't just benefit yourself and them, it actually benefits the whole society. Yeah, so cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's another question here. How do we overcome the paranoid feeling that our kindness to people is not reciprocated, but instead is allegedly misused or at the expense of ourselves? Can we be kind selectively, like do it via proper and safer channels?
Yeah, good question. Actually, yeah, it's going to happen. There's going to be people who will take advantage of you. So then when you realize that, then whether they are genuinely need your help or they just want to get something from you. They want your energy, they want your money, they want your whatever. Okay? Then But it's not that you're scared of, at least you're still helping the first time or first couple of times. You're actually still making an effort to help. Then you see, oh, okay, this person is just taking advantage of me. Then next time, find somebody else. So don't worry, this question I do get asked quite a lot. Oh, what if somebody takes advantage of me? Don't worry, you're still doing something kind. They taking advantage of you is their problem, and they will receive their karmic results from that. But you already did something kind out of your good intention. So very important is the intention, not the worry about, whether somebody take advantage. Like sometimes I go to the market here in Penang, and then there's a guy who's begging. Sometimes I'll throw a ringgit into his bowl. I don't know what he's going to do with it. Maybe he's going to go and buy some alcohol, drink, whatever. I don't know. But very important, more important is just your intention to help. That's all. So if you help, then that's it. So that's your job. Our job is just try helping. What the other person does with it is their job. And if you find out that, okay, they're always coming and trying to get something from you, you realize, oh, this guy doesn't really want, he just wants to take advantage of you. Then stop, Don't have to do that anymore. So don't worry. More important is your intention. Okay.
Okay, the next question. How can we help our family members and friends who are struggling with jobless stresses using this Bodhisattva way with Zen mind?
How can we help our family? Well, first thing, encourage them to come to Hobin Temple and practice there. Yeah, I mean, now we can face situations where people lose their jobs, and it's hard, but there is no antidote to losing a job except to find another job or to find some other work. But in the meantime, what do? Do you sit at home with your bad feeling, and then maybe you get depressed, or you get anxious, or you just feel worthless? That's not who you are. So important thing is to try to encourage them to, well, if they are willing to practice some meditation, to really kind of learn how to relax their mind. Because we see a lot of this anxiety and stress related to this pandemic as well as the economic situation. So this is outside situation that we cannot control. So what we do is that we're going to have to change how we respond to it. So if this person, if your family member, if you're working and your family member is not working, and you can help them with money, financial situation, so they don't get so stressed about it, help them. Share what you have. Okay, that's the first thing about being generous, to share what you have, give them a bit of help. Then talk to them. Try this, try 5 minutes of meditation, see how you feel. Then also encourage them to see if they can do some work, find some work somewhere else. Yeah, it won't be easy, but that's a challenge that we're all going to face. And if we can, our minds are clearer, we can face, and calmer, we can face these challenges more easily. But if we are always in a stressed out panic mode, then it's very difficult, because all we're doing is just being panicked and stressed. So that's why practice is very important. So, bring them to the Zen center, to the temple. Yeah, it's not a joke, it's true.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So due to the time, so here is last short questions. It's a clarification questions. So Sunim, I missed the sentence. It sounds like every act of kindness is not wasted. May I know, is that said by Dalai Lama?
No, it's stated by Aesop, A-E-S-O-P. You Google it. Aesop, he's this Greek storyteller. Okay.
Ken, thank you. So
Okay,
it was a wonderful teaching by Myung-An Sunim, who has shared with us how to walk the Bodhisattva way with Zen mind. So
well,
now
thank you for your wonderful questions.
Yeah. So now we would like to invite Myung-An Sunim, leading us for the recitations of 4 great vows to end this Dharma talk.
Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Delusions are endless. We vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable. We vow to attain it.